When we bought the dealership in 1994, sales had gone down there. Old school dealer, maybe a little burnout, but in 1996, Charlie Polston with LSI came to us and introduced BG products to us and showed us that there was a better way to be doing things in our service department and how we could grow our fixed operations, and we were excited about that.
Been with the Harrell-Swatty group for 5.5 years. They're split between Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Cincinnati, Ohio.
Victory Automotive Group was originally started in Morristown, Tennessee with one dealership, a Nissan store, and we have grown now to where we have 18 different dealerships. Previously, with 7 different states involved, I had 7 different suppliers or points of contact. One of the expectations that I had and required of BG was to have one point of contact.
When I first became associated with Wood and Fullerton, which has been about 8 years ago at this point now, they were already using BG, but we weren't really doing a lot with it. In fact, out of approximately 11 stores, we did about $120,000 a year in BG sales.
The equipment was so much better, the technology was better, the level of service from the presentation of what Winds was giving us versus what BG was giving us, it was like night and day. That alone was a determined reason to switch to BG products.
Daytona. That's who they were using for chemicals when I first came. Before I changed the system, they were doing about 120 services a month. My best month now with BG has been about 430 services a month.
And with BG products, as our fixed ops grew, we were actually busting at the seams by about 1999. And we knew that we really needed a new facility.
If I do have an issue, I call one person, and that one person, whether the problem's in California or North Carolina, takes care of the issue for me.
Even the initial response after the training was very good because we really had all the pieces that fit now.
Barber Dyson Ford is in a town of 15,000 people. Our market size is probably a 50,000 person trade territory. When BG first came in and my rep and I sat down and we talked about goals, we talked about expectations, and I've always been a person that liked to set the bar pretty high, not only for myself and for my business, but for my people. And when he told me that he thought $300,000 in a year was attainable, that excited me. It really did. And we've been able to double that.
My service managers were a little apprehensive on changing from the previous supplier to BG. They were afraid that they would be disrupted in their day-to-day routines. They were afraid that they would lose support from their technicians. They found out that they were getting more support than they had actually had in the past.
Well, switching from Winds to BG, the advisors had much more confidence in it. Our profitability has gone up 6-fold from using a Winds product because the advisors feel the confidence. The technicians, they see the difference in the product.
I think BG does the best job of training the people in how to use those chemicals, equipment, how to sell those chemicals. So my guys do a better job as a result of that. They're more comfortable in what they do.
They don't have any hesitation about selling the product to the customer. Therefore, all that gross profit just generates right to net to the bottom line. To me, it's a win-win for the customer and for the dealership.
At the end of the next year, we had went from $120,000 in sales out of 11 stores to almost $1.2 million in sales from BG product. So you can imagine what that did to the bottom line for Wood and Fullerton.
In the first quarter of 2011 versus the first quarter of 2010, we as a company have increased our revenue due to BG by 17%.
Which increased the revenue. Before we switched over, we were doing, the gross was probably less than $5,000 with Daytona. We've increased that revenue to about $40,000 to $45,000 in gross per month with BG.
The bottom line for the technicians and the service managers and the store managers is everybody's making more money, and everybody's happier when they're making more money.